In a city where no one has time to stop, and everything moves too fast for hearts to catch up, there lived a little girl named Lily, just 8 years old. She was small, skinny, and always wore the same faded purple hoodie. Her shoes had holes in them, and her hands were always stained with the grime of the street. But her spirit, oh, her spirit was something else. Each morning, before the sun even fully stretched across the horizon, Lily was already out on the corner of 5th and Main, holding a rag and a half-empty spray bottle. Her task was simple, but her mission was life-changing. She cleaned car windows not to beg, not to steal, not for candy or toys. No, Lily was on a mission to save her mother's life, one car window at a time. Her mother, Maria, once worked in a local diner before illness took away her strength. It started as a small cough, one she ignored for weeks. Then it turned to pain. Then came the hospital visits, the prescriptions she couldn't afford, and the days she couldn't get out of bed. The doctors called it a severe respiratory infection, treatable but costly. The prescription cost $5. It might as well have been 5,000. Lily counted her change every night. She was close. She was always close, but something always happened. A driver wouldn't tip. Rain would pour all day. A police officer would tell her to move, and yet, each morning, she'd return to her corner, praying softly under her breath. Just $5 more. Please, God, just 5. That morning was cold. The air bit at her cheeks, and her hands trembled as she gripped the bottle. She hadn't eaten the night before. Instead, she gave the last packet of soup to her mum, pretending she wasn't hungry. But her stomach growled as she moved from one car to another, whispering, "Window cleaning, sir? Ma'am, just $1, please." Most drivers ignored her. Some waved her away. A few gave her coins without looking at her. She never lost hope. Then came the black car, a sleek, expensive vehicle that seemed to glide to a stop in front of her. Lily hesitated. Rich people didn't usually tip. Some yelled, but something about this car. She couldn't explain it. It didn't scare her. It felt calm. She stepped forward. "Window cleaning, sir? Please?" Inside sat a man in his early 50s. Sharp suit, perfect tie, a face that hadn't smiled in years. This was Richard Bennett, CEO of one of the biggest tech companies in the country. He was worth hundreds of millions. But he was alone. His mansion echoed with silence. His phone rang with business, never family. His meals were eaten alone, his days blurred together. That morning, Richard wasn't running late. He just felt empty. So he took a longer route, the kind he never used. That's when he saw her. A little girl, barely taller than the hood of his car, standing in front of him with trembling hands and hopeful eyes. She cleaned his windshield quietly, working quickly, carefully. Not a speck of dirt remained. Then she stepped back, not asking for money, just waiting. Richard lowered his window. "Why are you doing this?" he asked. Lily looked surprised. Most people never asked. "I'm saving money to buy medicine for my mom." He looked at her more closely. Her clothes, her eyes, the honesty in her voice. "How much is it?" he asked. "Just $5. I have 3 so far," she said, showing him 2 crumpled dollar bills and some coins. Something in Richard's chest stirred. He pulled out his wallet and handed her a 20. Her eyes widened. "Sir, I don't have change." "You don't need to," he replied. "Take it and tell me, where do you live?" Lily hesitated. People had warned her about strangers, but something about this man didn't scare her either. So she told him. That afternoon, Richard stood in front of a small apartment building, holding groceries and the prescription Lily needed. The hallway smelled of mildew, and the walls were cracked. He knocked. Maria, weak and pale, opened the door. She looked at him in confusion, then at Lily. "Mom, he helped me," Lily whispered. Tears welled up in Maria's eyes as Richard handed her the bag. "You don't know what this means," she whispered. Richard smiled a real, honest smile he hadn't felt in years. "Actually, I think I do." From that day on, Richard came by every week, sometimes with food, sometimes with books for Lily, sometimes just to talk. He never made them feel like charity. He never asked for anything in return. He just cared. Weeks turned into months. Maria recovered. Lily went back to school. She stopped cleaning windows and started drawing again, her favorite thing in the world. She made a drawing of Richard once. Big glasses, a crooked smile, holding a tray of soup. He laughed when he saw it. "I don't think I've ever looked better," he said. They became like family. Years later, Lily stood at a graduation podium, valedictorian of her class. In the front row, Maria wept softly. Beside her sat Richard, older now, but prouder than ever. Lily spoke into the microphone. "When I was 8, I prayed for $5. I thought that was what I needed. But what I received was far greater. I found hope. I found kindness. I found a man who reminded me that in a world moving too fast, sometimes the simplest act of stopping, of listening, can save a life." He saved too. The auditorium stood in applause, but Richard didn't hear it. He was lost in thought, remembering that first day, the cold morning, the little girl with the rag, the words, "Just $5. He never told anyone. But that moment saved him too, because while Lily prayed for money, he had silently prayed for purpose, and through that window he found it. There are stories in this world that don't make headlines, stories that begin with brokenness and bloom into hope. Sometimes a little girl's prayer can move more than hearts, it can change lives. And sometimes all it takes is $5 and someone willing to see the person behind the pain.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the story, be sure to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. See you next time. Bye bye.